Everyone, my name is Albert. What you're seeing right now is a shed that I built last year in 2021. In this video, I will cover two things: why you need a shed and why you can do it too. Why do I need a shed? First of all, I need more space in my garage so that I can put my car in it because I do not want to shovel snow in a cold winter. Secondly, with a shed, you can have easy access, right, to the gardening tools, and so this will save you a lot of time when you work, in the summer, in the fall, in your backyard. Now, I'm sure that you agree with me that those reasons above, but you may ask, why don't you just buy one from Home Depot or Costco? They are around like $1,000 to $1,500. The answer is that I do not like plastic ones because they do not look strong enough. I like to build a shed by myself and enjoy the process of researching, planning, and executing a project, and become a handyman. Why not? Now, let's take a detailed look at this shed. First of all, it's located in the corner of my backyard, and it is around 2 feet away from my fence. This is for the maintenance purpose. I also have a strong base. I used 4 deck blocker and the lumber, as you can see the lumber, to form a strong base. This is a vinyl siding to prevent water from coming in. The drip ridge, the drip edge, and also the shingles to protect water from coming in. Okay, this is certainly the door that I made. Now let's move inside to see the functionalities. To the left, I built a shelf that you can hold gardening tools, and on the floor you can put gardening soil. To my right, this is branch cutters and grass trimmers. And for today's purpose, because I'm making a video today, I even put 2 chairs and a piece of wood to form a workbench. So that looks very good. You can see here we have nails, screws, tapes. Those are all the things you can put in this shed. What's interesting about this, you can see I even put who's the constructor. This not only include me, but also my 2 kids and my wife. So we are the construction team. Start year 2021, completion 2022. Okay, that's the inside of the house, inside of the shed. Now, you may think about this. This looks like a lot of work for you, and you may feel that you really cannot do it. But let me tell you my story. I'm not a handyman at all. To give you an idea, I didn't even know how to use the circular saw and even a drill gun. But what's get me started is that you can buy the shed kit in Amazon. I'll tell you what they will ship you if you buy that. It's basically this metal piece. That's all they ship to you. Okay, with that metal piece and with just the lumbers. And what's good about this, Amazon kit thing, they also give you a detailed instructions. You can see here, right? It tells you how many lumbers you need to buy at each size. 2x4x12, you need this many. 2x4x10, you need this many lumbers. So with that Amazon kit and the lumbers and certain tools, then you can finish 50% of this project. It will only give you a skeleton of this shed. Now, to finish the entire project, you will need to build a strong and a solid base you still need to do the vinyl siding and shingles, right? So all this, I did a lot of research, watching so many different videos in the YouTube. And with this, I decided to basically make a series of videos of my experiences and the lessons learned into those videos, so that you can have a complete guide from the very start to the finish line. Okay, lastly, I want to talk about two things that you may have in your mind, like what's the cost and how long does it take. My shed is a small one, 7 by 8, and I believe when you buy the kit, you can choose maybe from maybe a bigger one, but I'm in Markham. They only allow me to do 10 by 10. So for this size, for the shed of this size, the cost is around $1,500, I would say, excluding the circular saw and the drill gun, which are expensive. But if you work alone, it will take you around 6 to 8 weekends. If you have a strong helper, it will take you 3 to 4 weeks if you work both weekends. Okay, one of the mistakes I want to tell you is that I started my project on November 7, and it took me 1.5 months to finish everything, and my family members, right? I finished in December 26th. That's after Christmas. And let me tell you, it's a crazy story, because I experienced the big wind, the coldness, and even the snows. And all of those things are not good for the constructors, okay? So the best timing is actually right now, in the fall, where you have wonderful weather, not too much rain, and that's your best time. Okay, so having said all of this, I hope you totally understand the reasons why a shed is needed and why you can build it too. Please see my video description below to start to buy certain things at Amazon and others in Home Depot. In my next video, I will talk about the site selection and site preparation so that you can start to build a strong base. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Bye. Hello everyone, this is Albert again, and I believe that you have watched my previous video regarding why you need a shed and why you can do it. So I'm sure that you have the confidence right now and you're very eager to learn what are the major steps to build a shed. Okay, so here are the major steps from the very beginning to the very end. This includes the site selection, site preparation, and the last step is the interior finish. So in this video, I will do step 1 and 2, and in the following videos, I will cover everything. Just for your sake, when I did my project, there are some mistakes I made that I wish that you need to avoid. So those are the you can see the cross and the red. That's something you need to pay attention. Then there's also something when I reflect how I built this project is if I would do it again, there's something that I want to change. But since you're doing it the first time, I hope that you can implement my recommendations to your project. I really hope that your shed is more solid and it's more beautiful than what I have. Okay, so I think that's a beauty. Then there's something that I think I did it pretty well. For example, install the skylight and maybe also the ventilation. That's something that you can follow. Okay, so pay attention to those legend, avoid the red, and hopefully you can follow the green things, and pay attention to the orange, which you can improve from my project. Okay, So first step, site selection. Originally, we look at the locations. We have a big backyard, and we have two locations. One is here, another one is here. But the issue is our best location already have some plants and flowers, and not a lot. So we're a bit lazy, and we said maybe we don't want to move the plants and flowers. Then actually we say, oh, let's move it to another location which don't have plants, don't have flowers, but it is not the best location. But anyway, we did this in the wrong location. I did it pretty nicely with my daughter together. But then later on, we thought about this again, and we say, okay, this is a shed that's gonna stand there for 10 years or maybe even 20 years. So let's pick the best location for it, right? So what I did is we moved some plants to somewhere else, and we picked the best location for the shed. And one thing about the site selection that's very important is after this project is built, the shed is built. Every time I come from the front to my backyard, and when I open the door, and the first thing I see is this shed. So the visibility is also very important, because every time I see this shed that me and my family built, I feel really proud of myself and the team, and I really like the beauty of this shed. So one consideration when you select your shed is make it visible, and because every time you pass by it and you feel proud of yourself, you feel fulfilled, and so that's another consideration. So after the site selection, and you need to make sure the distance between your shed and the fence is more than 2 feet. I choose 2 feet, but I would recommend to do 2.5 feet, because the thing is 2 feet is a little bit too narrow for me. And imagine that you build a shed, and this is your time to climb up the shed and install your roof, and this 2 feet, it's a little bit too narrow, and it's a little bit difficult to put a ladder over there. So I would really recommend 2.5 feet. Okay. And also one thing, don't forget, when you choose your location, make sure the site is flat, and we don't want to build a shed that's wiggly or that's on a slope. Okay. So site selection is done. Now you can do the site preparation. So first thing you do is you dig your soils out, and that's gonna be inches deep. And then you determine your size of sheet, which is shed, which is very important. I called the Markham. This is the city I lived. They say if you build a shed which is less than 108 square feet, then you don't need a building permit, right? And so mine is choose 7x8, which is 56 square feet, so which is way under 108. I do feel a little bit small, but the reason why I pick 7x8 is I'll show you why here. We have, once you buy the shed kit, you can see here from the Amazon, it give you 20 pages of instructions. Okay, so this is why it gave me some confidence, even I'm not a handyman, and then you can look at all those instructions and build it by yourself. So go back to the topic. So here in the shed kit, they give you 3 choices. One is 7x8, another one is 8x14, 10x22. Really based on the city code, without a build permit, what I can only do is 7x8. So that's the reason I choose 7x8. Okay, so choose a 7x8, then now you know the length of your lumber that you need to buy, right? So that's the size. And then after that, you measure the distance between the fence and the shed. Then you can lay down your 4 blockers, right? 4 deck blockers. Make sure, you know, the blockers are leveled. Okay, that's very important. And make sure when you put your lumber down, it's actually rectangle. So one trick that you can use is you always measure the rectangle. So if the rectangle, you always measure the diagonal. If the diagonal are the same length, then you can sure your shape is really a rectangle. Okay, so one thing I want to emphasize here, the recommendation is when I build my shed, let's call this guy shed bed. The shed bed that I have is 7x8 The shed itself is 7x8. So in this case, my shed basically directly sit on the lumbers, right? Which I think it's not perfect. That's why I recommend you, if you build a shed 7x8, make sure your shed bed is a bit wider. So I would suggest maybe 8x9. That's the best. And you can see here, I searched some pictures in the internet, and I really like this design. And you can see here the shed bed is wider and longer than the shed itself. So in this case, shed basically sitting on the crushed gravel, which I think it's more solid, and the water can go through this crushed gravel, right? So it makes your shed more durable and less impacted by the water. So I would highly recommend you build a shed bed more than 7x8, more than the size of your shed. Okay. Now, after you decide this and all of that, you can lay down the lumbers, right? Here I have another recommendation. When you lay down the lumbers, I would suggest you use treated wood, you know, because this is more water resistant. Okay. After that, I also did a lot of research. Some people suggest you put a vapor barrier, because eventually if you put directly without a vapor barrier, and there will be moisture coming out from the soil, and then it may erode your shed base. Okay, so I took the recommendation. I put my vapor barrier, you know, cover the soil, and then I put my crushed gravel in. So the reason why we need to put crushed gravel is they bite each other well, so it becomes solid. You definitely don't want to buy some rounded gravels, and those will go everywhere, you know. So this is not good for your solid foundation for the shed. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any comments, please leave me a comment. So you, by far, that you have finished your site selection and site preparation. In my next video, I will cover how do you install the base and install the shed structure. Okay, thank you very much. And if you decide to do it now, please look at my video. Please look at my link link in my description, and you can buy the Amazon kit. Hopefully using my link, because I earned a little bit commission from that link. If you don't buy, and that's fine too. Okay, I just really hope that you enjoy the process of building a shed. Okay, so thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello everyone, this is Albert again, and we have covered the site selection and the site preparation already. So in this video I will cover how to build a base, and which is floor, and how to build a structure, the skeleton of the shed. So a strong base is important, but also a strong structure is equally important. Okay, so before I start, I want to know that right now that we need a prerequisite, which is the Amazon Shed Kit manual. So I've put a couple of screenshots of the manual, so it will tell you, it will give you some ideas, you know, the instructions how to build the shed base and how to nail the floor onto the shed base. So if you are in this stage already, you really need a shed kit manual. Okay, so the installed base is quite simple. You just make the base. For example, make the base, you can make it in the garage if it's raining outside. Okay, and then lay down the base structure onto the shed bed. And one thing I want to let you know is it's always better to paint the shed floor. It doesn't say in the instruction manual, but I feel, you know, there's always possibility that you kind of came from outside in the backyard. It's a rainy day. For example, today is rainy, and if I go inside the shed and bring some water in, it will make it muddy, and it will, you know, basically wet the floor. So that's not a good idea. So really you need to paint the shed floor. That's my recommendation. You can see this stage is already I lay down the shed floor, so everything is laid down properly. The thing here I want to also mention the tools you need. By far you will need a circular saw and you will need a drill gun. Okay, so you can see this is a circular saw. That's my garage. That's in my garage, and you will need a drill gun. You can buy any type of the, you know, drill gun or circular saw, and buy a good brand. You know, it will last you for a long time. So that's very important. And I want to also let you know I will post something in the description or comment. It will show you how to use the circular saw. At the very first time, when I used my first time using circular saw, I was really afraid, and I want to watch and how to use the circular saw. And I saw a wonderful video, and it's funny, and it's also the video is funny, and also it's light, and it to the point. So I really recommend that video. Take a look. Drill gun is not that difficult. You can just use it. But I will mention one thing in the my next slide. There is a safety risk when using the drill gun. So let's go to the next step. Okay, so you can see the next step is really install the shed structure, which is the skeleton of the whole thing, right? So that's very important. So here the first step is install the 10 pillar, right? So you will use a little metal piece that connect with the pillar and the base, right? Then you will install the door frames, which is here, the door frames and front and the back, right? Then you install the rafters, right? Install the rafters. What you need in this stage, you will probably need a helper because now it's taller, right? It's high, and then you may need a chair or a ladder if you do it by yourself. But a helper is really, really recommended, that you can hold the rafters and do all sorts of things together. It's better. So one thing I want to really mention about here is a safety tip. When I try to use the drill gun, right, to install this little metal piece to screw it into this pillar, and it almost hurt my finger because the issue is the high speed of the drill gun. It rotates the screw, and then at the same time it rotates this metal piece, and you know, if I don't do it properly, the metal piece may cut my finger. So really I suggest to really do it carefully, right? and if possible, wear gloves, right? And or maybe tie the metal piece manually. This way you do it slowly so it doesn't hurt. So really, overall in the whole process, you're only gonna be doing 10 or 12 things like this metal piece thing. So it's not a big deal if you do it manually. Okay, so just be safe. Okay, one little tip here is, you know, all these little things you can really do it in the garage. Sometimes I did it in the winter. You can see there is yellow leaves everywhere, and sometimes it rains. You really need to pick a sunny day. You know, I heard, you know, probably it's also common sense that you don't really want your wood to be soaked with water with the big rain, and it will really take a lot of time for the, you know, wet wood to evaporate and to become. So this is basically gonna, if it's rain that's soaked, it's gonna make your structure really weak. So important thing is pick the right weather and do this little preparation work in the garage. And so now that you have the skeleton, thank you for watching, and in my next video we'll talk about install the roof and walls. See you. Hello all, welcome back. So last video we covered how to build a base and how to build a structure. Okay, this video I'll cover how to install the roof and walls. So you can see the left side wall and right side wall is really easy because it's just a rectangle shape. So that's very easy to install. Just put some nails or screws in. That's very easy. The difficult part, relatively difficult part, is about how to install it on the front. So as you can see in the menu, it tells you very clearly you need to put a board, right? So in front of the skeleton, the framework here, and then use your pencil to cut out the piece that you don't want. And also here, this is saved for the doors. I used a clamp because at the time when I did this, I'm just doing it alone, and you know, so I used a clamp. So once the board is in, I clamped it so that the board and the framework stick together. So in that time I can just mark them. I mark everything, and then I put this board with the mark on the floor, and then I use my circular saw to cut it to the exact shape. Okay, so you repeat the whole process to the front. Once you did the front, you will do the back side. So that's finishing the wall installation. The next step you do is you install the roofs. The one thing I learned, what I recommend is you need to stick your roof a little bit out, and this is kind of common sense. I didn't see this in the menu. It looks like in the menu nothing stick out, right? So it's like exactly nothing, 2 or 3 inches here, it's not there. If that's the case, the water will flow through the walls, right? So that's not very good for the water resistance purpose. So I use the common sense to make it a little longer. See the left side, the right side, okay, and also the front and the back, right? So that's important. Once you have all of that, maybe you have to work from Monday to Friday, and you'll probably do some work in the next week. So I just use the vapor barrier to cover everything. Okay, so just prevent the water from getting in. As I mentioned in my previous video, you really don't want water get into your interiors, and this create all sorts of mess. Okay, so make sure you cover that and watch the weather. Okay, when the weather is good, take a good opportunity of that, even if you do it after work or even a couple of hours, right? So that's why I think the fall is probably the best time, and then you have still sunset maybe around 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. But in the winter, not a good idea, right? In the winter, the sunset is maybe 5 or 6, so you don't really have time to work on this project. So really, I encourage you to do this in this fall, and so the weather is helping you. Okay, so this is a short video, and install the roof and wall. The next video will cover mostly the the vinyl siding, the drip edge, the ventilation, the roof shingles. All of these things are talking about like waterproofing your shed. Okay, well, thank you for watching. We'll see you in my next video. Bye. Hello everyone. Congratulations that you have completed almost 50% of this whole project. So everything from 1 to 5, site selection, preparation, build a base, that's what I have. And then the structure and the roof and wall, those are covered in the Amazon Shed Kit menu. So starting from step 6 to step 10, it's really not covered by the Shed Kit installation. So I have to do lots of research on that. And I believe probably the most difficult one is install the vinyl siding. And you can see the back side and left side is relatively easy because it's whole piece. You don't need to do a lot of cutting. And the right side is a little bit difficult because you need to cut a hole and install the intake vent. The front, a little bit complication here because you need to install the door frames first, and there's many cuts on the vinyl siding, so that will make it a little complicated. Okay, so in this video I'll cover the vinyl siding, which is a waterproofing of this shed. Okay, first of all, in this stage you will need to buy some kind of construction paper. You can see here that's a paper. You also need to buy a hammer stapler, which is very common. You can buy it anywhere, Home Depot, Canadian Tire. I bought this guy. I find it's very easy to use. You can hammer it in. For example, you have a staple and then you just hammer it, and then the water basically will stick on the wall. So that's a step 1. Put the paper on. This is one layer of waterproofing. Okay. After you put the paper, then you can install this one. It's called corner post. Okay. So install the corner post. That's also not very difficult, but I will show you 2 YouTube videos I researched, and you can follow the instruction on that, right? After you install the corner post and a paper, then you can do the vinyl siding. But in the vinyl siding installation, you need to first install the starter strip. The starter strip is where you start to install the vinyl siding, which is the first strip that's usually on the bottom. Okay, install the starter strip at the bottom, and then you need to install the J channel. I'll give you an idea what is J channel. Because of its shape, that's why it's called the J channel, right? So you have the starter strip in the bottom, and you have the J channel on the top, and then you have corner post, one to the left, one to the right, and then it forms a frame. Okay, once you have that frame, then you can measure and cut the vinyl siding. Then you install the vinyl siding. So after everything is complete, it looks like this. this is a picture of the back side. So left side, the easiest, the back side relatively easy, so you can finish this one pretty much pretty quickly. Okay, next step, you know, I struggle a little bit because of this complication, but after, you know, after my thinking, I think it's still better to have an intake vent, right? So you may not need to install it because you think it's too small a shed, and yeah, I just feel to make this project a little bit more perfect, I will like to, you know, have the wind coming in and you know, going out, so that, you know, it has a good smell in the shed, right? So the first thing you need to do is you need to cut a hole on the right side wall. So in this stage, I used this guy. This is called angle grinder, right? So you can see I cut it from inside, right? When I cut it, actually you can see, you see those two red dots. That's almost because the speed of the grinder, it actually kind of burned and have a little fire in it. So for your safety, you know, maybe to put a little bit of a water bottle just in case. I don't want to burn your shed. Okay, so cut it, and after you cut it, it looks like this. And then you also need to put, you know, cut a small piece of the J channel was inside, you know, inside this vent, and then you use the glue. You glue the vent into the wall. Then you use the glue. You can have it in the Home Depot. After that, you cut the pieces, and then you can install the vinyl siding. Again, as I said, it's always whenever there is an edge or something like that, you have to install the edge first. So you see, we have edge here, we have edge here, and here we have an edge on the top, so that water doesn't come in to your wall, right? It goes to your second protection of the waterproofing, go to the water. You want, hopefully the vinyl siding will protect, you know, 90% of the wall water from coming in. Okay, so that's the right side of the wall. Next is install the vinyl siding on the front. This one is probably most difficult. You can see we have to install the door frame first. Once you have the door frame, right, again, as I said, you have to have edges prepared already. So this one, after you install the door frame, you have to install the starter strip here, and also the J channel to the left, J channel to the right. So in this way, your vinyl siding have two edges already have a kind of gap that you can insert in, right? So J channel is a must-have, right? So after that, you install this, install the vinyl siding up to here, and then the next step is you need to install the front door. You need to make the front door. So this entire door, you know, a couple of pieces here, and you just install it and you paint it so that it's waterproofing, and then you install the front door. So here I want to mention this to you is that I have a recommendation that it's better to have a helper that help you lift the door, or maybe you put some wood here, just make sure it's stand straight, right? And sometimes I trimmed many times to make sure the door actually fit in the door frame. So I highly recommend, this is really a two-man work. Have a helper help you to lift the door and holding everything right, and then you can install this bracket thing to hold the door. So this is quite strong, right? So after you install it, you know, the door is finished. And then you have to cut little pieces, you know, to its shape. Then I call it, you know, install the vinyl siding in the gable. Gable is the area that under the rafter. Okay, so that's a little bit need a little bit of cutting. So one tip I want to tell you is that you can use, I find it's quite useful, you can use this angle grinder to cut the vinyl siding. I just like it very much. Some people use the hand tools. I feel that that angle grinder very useful. It's very easy and cut really straight. Okay, so that's that. And now that once you have the waterproofing for the walls, and then it's a bit easier for you to cover, because again, you don't have the roof yet. So I suggest you put a vapor barrier to cover your roof. So because when I install this is almost I believe it's in December already, and you don't want snows, you know, on your roof, and you don't want rain. Okay, so this will soak your wood, and it will create a lot of problem in the future, right? So make sure you cover it with vapor barrier. Okay, so actually the little tip here is once you put the vapor barrier, you can use this hammer guy, you can use this stapler to staple them to the wood, right? And so you can see again, as I mentioned, I don't want you to install this shed really in December or November. You can see it's quite windy. You know, it basically flipped my vapor barrier to the top and flying everywhere. So the best time, I believe, is still sometime from September to November. Just finish it before the winter comes. Okay, so this covers the vinyl siding part. I will list all these YouTube videos that I researched, total 6 of them, in my description area. So you will need to look at those things. Because I think my video is a high level steps, and for the little details you need to look at that to make sure that you install it properly. One little tip about the vinyl siding is when you install this, you need to always make sure that you hear a sound of click. You know, this is you pull it up, and then you need to hear a click sound, and this makes sure that all the vinyl sidings and this piece and the next piece is biting together nicely and firmly. Okay, so I have to do some rework, because when I install the right side vinyl siding, I hear the click, but when I install the left side, I didn't really hear that. So I have to redo my left side after I hear the click sound of the right side wall. So okay, so this covers everything for the vinyl siding part. So you almost finish. If you go through these steps and finish the vinyl siding, you are basically 60 or 70%. So that's a very, very difficult part. Okay, congratulations, and thank you for watching. We'll see you in my next video. Bye. Hey, hello everyone, welcome back. So we have finished step 1 to 6, and now we are moving to the top, which is the roof installation, rib edge, and all that. Okay. So first of all, I think let me introduce the terminology here. I find this picture very useful. You know, this is a very complicated house, and but even a small shed share the same terminology here. You can see this one, we can call it rake, okay, and this one, the side, we call it eave. So here we need to install the drip edge like this, right? So this is called drip edge. With the reason it's, you know, the water will drip from it, right? That's the terminology again. It's a rake, eave, and drip edge. The sequence is very, very, very important. I did certain researches. Looks like it's the drip edge at the eave side first. See, that's the eave side. You do the drip edge in eave side first, okay? And after that, you will need to install the underlayment roll. Underlayment roll, you can get it from Home Depot. So you put the drip edge in the eave side first. See, this is eave side, step 1. Step 2, you can put the underlayment roll, right? So this covers this, and after that you install the drip edge at the rake side. This is the rake side, which is this side. So step 1, this one, and then underlayment roll, and then the drip edge and the rake. So make sure the sequence, you got the sequence right, okay? So, you know, I think after the installation, this is already winter time. It looks pretty good. For the detail steps, I've put a couple of, 2 YouTube videos here that you can take a look at the detail, and also a very good article, very detailed, about how to install the drip edges. Those are the 3 resources you can have. Next step is install the vent. So you don't have to really install the vent, in my opinion, but I just feel to make this project better, and also make it a little bit more perfect, you would imagine that if you have a skylight in the shed, so when you inside close the door, you can still have a light. So I think that's better. I struggle a little bit. For sure that when you install the shed, you may, the skylight, you may feel that, it may leak if you don't install right? It's an extra cost. But eventually, I think just to make it perfect, I decide to do it. And another thing, as I mentioned here, and this SNOWVENTCOSkyLiteRoofVent, right? It has two functions. One serves as a ventilation. If you remember here, we have a little vent here. This is intake, right? So it's better that you have the wind coming out, right? So it makes sense to install another vent on the top, so it's a circulation purpose. Another one is because it's a skylight, it gives you some light. I tried to close the door, and it actually, in the daytime, and it gave me enough light to see what's inside. It's pretty good, yeah. So another thing is this one is invented by Canadian, so it's interesting that install a Canadian invention here in my shed. That's good. And this is the only second thing that you can buy from Amazon. The one is shed installation kit. This is the second one. So only bought 2 things from Amazon. The other things, all the tools and everything, I got it just Home Depot conveniently. Okay, so this is great. Okay, finally I decided to install it. In the process is quite simple. You can cut a hole in the roof, right? And because this is easy to operate, this one I actually use a circular saw. It's faster than the angle grinder. So I just did it, open it, measure it, right? Measure the size of this, and measure the size of the hole, and then you basically need to put it right. But then also everything else, so surrounding this area, at least the bottom portion, you will need to install part of the shingles first, and then you cut a hole somewhere. Okay, so that's why I said in terms of sequence of the events, you will by far, after you cut the hole, and then you need to install part of the shingles from the bottom to the top here, and we have a hole here, and then you install the vent. Installing the vent is quite simple. You just screw it in and put it in, and make sure the shingles will cover this area, so no water leaking. Okay, so this is step 8, install the vent, the final thing, almost final thing, is about install shingles. Okay, so you can see the sequence is also very important. You can see by far, when I did this process, it's already winter time, very close to December, very close to the Christmas at the time. So it's really makes everything a little bit difficult, but I just decided to finish it. I don't want to drag it to and then everything need to be covered. You need to have a roof so that the shed can endure the winter, the wind, the snow, and everything. So that's another reason I suggest that you build this project starting September and October, and try to finish it by November. Don't let it pass November. Okay, so in terms of the process, you need to install the starter strip. This is the starter strip. I got it from Home Depot, and you install it in the eave side. Again, this is the eave side, if you can remember, eave side first. Okay, starter strip, and then you cover it in, that's the starter strip in the rake side. Okay, so this first, and then rake side covers that, and then you can install the shingles. The shingles, you can see it's all kind of follows special pattern. So I have basically show you after the starter strip you can install shingles. I have put a couple of videos, YouTube videos, and you can just do it from there. Again, the sequence is from the bottom to the top. After you do the layers, after the layers, and you do this side first, right? And then you do another side, and then finally you install the shingles on the ridge. So this is called the ridge again. Okay, this is the ridge. I'll show you again. Yeah, so this is the ridge. So you do this side first, and then the other side, and then after that you do the ridge. So we put some nails on it, and that's the end of the project. So after I finish everything and really feel fulfilled and satisfied a lot, and the next day there was a big snow, not really big, but a light snow, I would say. So it covers the roof. It stands still there quietly. It's new shed, really good. I really like it. Every time I pass by it, I just feel very satisfied of my creation here. Okay, so this is a shingle. This is something I finished in 2021, and then 2022 I basically made some improvement on the interiors. So here they install some boards. The boards means here you can see that because you have some nails that you use to do the vinyl siding, so it all stick out. So it wasn't a good idea that if you put for example the garden soils and you lean against the wall, right, and then the nail just appears through. So that's not a good idea. That's why I put some board here, covered it, so you can put your basket, no plastic bag of the soil here without peeling it, okay, without breaking it, right? So the boards, this side, and boards. And after that, it's a good idea to install some shelves, right? So you can put your little tools there, your gloves, and so that's also good, just to better use the space here. And then I have some extra chairs here. I put a board, find somewhere, and then it become a working bench. Okay, so that's a working bench. It's also quite good. You can quietly building something, small tools and little assemblies here in this working bench. And after that, that's you can also put some board here, just screw it in, and put some branch cutters and everything. So that's conclude our video, including the exteriors and the interiors. So I really hope you like this video. If you can subscribe to my channel, and you can like my video, and you can share it with others. And in the description, I will mark down the overall like resources, including multiple YouTube videos, articles, and also the links that you can buy from Amazon. One is the shed installation kit. Another one is the vent. Okay, so I really hope you enjoy this video. Thank you very much. Bye.